This is Romo Dunze, and you're listening to the Ballsville podcast.
Thank you so much, man. Appreciate it.
And now, your host of the Ballsville podcast, Scott Fitzgerald.
Because I'm a fucking fan.
Welcome in, Ballsville gamers, to another episode of the Ballsville Pod. I'm your host, Scott Fitzgerald, a.k.a. Ludes for Sale on Sleeper. And this episode is brought to you by the Ballsville Games. Our games combine fantasy football and poker, which create big payouts with great odds. All right, gang, we finished our first game. It's in the books. Kansas City 27, Baltimore Ravens 20. Before we get on to it, I'm going to introduce you to my panel. In the background, she's our producer from California. It's Sarah M21. She does all the trinkets in the background for you. What's up? All right. Way to go, Sarah. My co-host is Sean S. Clem. He's Bills Mafia. What's up, Sean?
Not much, my friend. How we doing?
And the triplet of the pod today, it's the good old boy from Texas. His name is Connor. He just loved those two Jaden Reed touchdowns today. What's up there, Connor?
Yes, sir. Just loving football's back, honestly.
All right. We are without Ken again. He is recovering from his sickness, but he will be back on Tuesday in the saddle. So we're going to do a 3-man pod today, and that just gives us more time to talk. So we will get into this. Before we get into the game, we got a little bit of news and notes real quick. I'm sure you've all heard that T. Higgins is doubtful for Sunday's game. Jamar Chase still going through contract issues. Will he be a decoy? Will he not play? Who are going to be the receivers you're throwing to? I love the Chase Brown over 14.5 receiving yards this week. So we're going to go to Sean. What are you doing with that receiving core this week, Sean?
Putting him on the bench. I mean, that's basically the only option you've got, really. Like, I might play Chase if I really have no choice. If there's no depth on the team and I got to put him in, I'll put him in. I really don't expect a lot out of him this week. So if you have any option, I'd probably sit him and just play the other safer option right now. Even if he does end up having a decent week, I'd rather just be safe with it in week one and make sure I get something out of that position.
Connor, if you don't have no other options to put in your lineup, let's say you do have T. Higgins or you do have Jamar Chase, are you scrambling and picking up Burton or Josevich?
I mean, I disagree with Sean. I think if you have Chase and he's playing, you have to play him. I mean, you can't. He's your first round pick in most instances. You can't just sit him on the bench and be like, "Yeah, you're in timeout." That's not really. He's your first round pick. You have to play him.
Spoken like a true last place. Man.
Yeah, 1 week ain't gonna make me last place, but if you have Chase, you have to play him. In my opinion, I don't think you're playing anybody else with confidence. Maybe Andre, what's his name? I think you might be able to play him in a deeper league, but besides that, I'm not playing anybody else with confidence. Not Burton or even Mike Gesicki or anybody like that. So.
I'd play Gesicki if I didn't end up with one of the top tight ends in my draft, and he was one of the guys I took a flyer on. This is a week to play him. New England.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, if you're not, I mean, obviously, but you're not going to go out there and start him in front of.
Like, would you play him over, like, Cole Kmet?
No.
What about you, Scott?
You wouldn't play him over Cole Kmet, Connor?
I wouldn't.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think I would. And this week,
I think I would.
No.
Yeah, I think I would. So yeah, it's gonna be
it's a new audience.
But I mean, they are playing New England, so it's like, I just think if you're in a pinch, Josevich isn't a bad option. I'd be really torn to play Chase or not. I mean, I agree, I guess, with both you guys. Like I said, it'd be really hard to put him in there.
Scott. You got to pick one. You can't agree with both of us. This is a 3-man pod, bro.
Yeah, but see, I would hate to put him in and get a 0, but then I would hate to be that guy to sit him, and then he freaking goes off for 2 touchdowns. And then you're like, what an idiot. This guy was my first round draft.
Yeah, exactly. You cannot just bench your first round.
If he's going to go off for 2 touchdowns, that means that he probably got like 2 out of his 5 targets were like a good touchdown, deep touchdown. And that's the only way that it really is going to happen.
But he's still far and away the best receiver on the team. I mean,
exactly, which is why they're not going to put a pressure on a guy who's not prepared physically for a football game.
Yeah, I don't think he's like. I think he probably is under a snap count, but I don't think that matters when he's your first round draft pick. Like, you have to pay him regardless. I mean,
I don't agree with I have to play my first round draft pick just because he was my first round draft pick.
Well, yeah, because you picked freaking Jonathan Brooks in the 6th and was like, he's going to be there week 8.
First of all, it has nothing to do with this conversation. So first of all, let's stay on point here, buddy.
Well, first of all, I'm going to agree with what Jeff just wrote in the chat, because this is perfectly me. I said who's in a pinch week 1. Jeff says who's in a pick week 1. I'm not in a pinch week 1 because I didn't draft him at all. I just faded him the whole way, so I'm not in a pinch this week.
So I have him in a league where I took him as my first pick. I have a very deep receiving core in that league. I am absolutely having no problem if I need to sit him.
Name a name that you're playing above Chase, though. Like,
let's see. So I've got Pittman, I've got Rice, I've got London. Those are the 3 that I have with him. So I have those 4 guys.
But you have flexes,
2 starter flex league, so I could play all 4 of those guys, but I can't play any other flex positions. So I'm going to play Jaylen Warren right now. I'm going to play him over Jamar Chase for this week. I'm totally fine with doing that.
Jaylen Warren
can get enough carries to where he's going to get some points, and he's going to make enough to get that last flex position out of the way for the week, and I don't have to concern myself with Jamar Chase being a decoy and being out there for very minimal play time this week. I don't need Jamar Chase to come out there and blow up for my team to have a shot at winning. I'm fine. So I'd rather just take a safer bet and get the maybe, higher floor, lower ceiling player for this week.
Okay. I think you have an argument to play those 3 receivers in front of him, but I don't think there's an argument in the book to play Jaylen Warren over Jamar Chase if he plays.
Okay, we're moving on. We spent 8 minutes on Jamar Chase. So we are going to move on. Nobody wants to hear about this crap. Everyone wants to hear about the awesome game that was last night and the game right now that could potentially be a very nice game. So the Chiefs beat the Ravens 27-20. Tremendous game. We got to see a little bit of Derrick Henry. We got to see a ton of Xavier Worthy. And I'm going to go with Sean real quick. Sean, what was the biggest takeaway in this game for you?
The biggest takeaway for me was Rashee Rice. The way that he was targeted, and the fact that I think a lot of the targets he got were the same Kelce targets. I really do feel like, oh wow, we just had a really big play.
75-yard touchdown, first play.
Really big play right now on the game.
Oh, sorry, Scott.
Yeah, sorry, we got a game break, guys. We got a game break we got to cover here.
Oh my gosh,
we got.
AJ Brown.
Let me see here. Yeah, I got to see how far this was.
I think it was 70-yard jet as they just kicked off.
Wow.
Yeah.
We're gonna. You'll have game breaks in today because we're in the second half. So yeah, nothing to do about.
Yeah, there's nothing we could do about when AJ Brown breaks a 70-yard touchdown play.
Yeah, that was pretty nice.
That's unbelievable.
I hope you have AJ
Brown in your fantasy leagues, boys.
Yeah, so Rashee Rice did have 9 targets, 7 receptions for 103. He's definitely looks like he's going to be the slot killer in this offense. Easy slot passes from Patty Mahomes. With Worthy being in that offense. Pardon me?
He's taking Kelce's targets. That's the other big takeaway I had.
Yeah, it's
if Rashee Rice blows up, Kelce's going to be the one who's going to end up hurting from it.
Yeah, I think Worthy's definitely going to open up that offense, and obviously I think Patty Mahomes is going to have a big year. So they look about as advertised on offense. Mahomes made a few bonehead, plays. I didn't like the play before the half where he kind of tried to throw that little pass and then he caught it. I wish he would have just knocked it down. You're not even supposed to catch that ball. Few suspect throws, but other than that, it's first game. Now let's move on to the Ravens side. There was a lot going on the Ravens side. especially watching Mark Andrews walk off the field with his helmet on, which to me is
hiding the tears.
Yeah, hiding the tears that possibly his target share just got taken away. So you owners that invested in Mark Andrews early, Connor, how much are you going to go after Isaiah Likely if you're like maybe not real good at tight end?
So I looked into a little bit of reasoning why Mark Andrews might have, sat down. He got in a car wreck. I don't know if y'all remember the story. He got in a car wreck probably about 2 weeks before the game, and he was dealing with an injury. I'm not sure if it was related to the car wreck or not, but throughout the first week this last week of camp or whatever. And so they think he ran more routes than Likely. He participated in more snaps than Likely. I just think he was a little banged up. I honestly don't think I still like Likely. I thought Likely might be their third option, and I still think or maybe fourth option. Still think he is. I still have Andrews above Likely personally. If I have Andrews, I want to handcuff him Likely, but I would say most of our leads, most of Ballsville, with these deeper rosters, Likely's probably not on the waivers anyway. So
Sean, what about you, Sean, with Likely Andrews situation?
I think that the Rashee Rice and Kelsey scenario scares me more than the Likely and Andrews scenario. I think this was just a gameplay scenario. I think Andrews will be just fine, even if Likely is still going to get targets, which he will. I think Andrews will still get plenty of targets too, and he'll be good. I don't think he'll be, in the top 3 in tight ends, but I didn't have him in my top 3 anyway. So I don't think he'll be any worse than he was expected to be, in my opinion. I think Kelsey, on the other hand, is scary. So, that if you're looking at those two scenarios right now with the 2 top tight ends that played last night, that the Kelsey Rice scenario scares me more than the Andrews Likely scenario.
I think I'm about the same on both. I think the way that Baltimore's playing them, they're having Kyle Hamilton basically shade above every Kelsey route and basically playing every time he was on the field, and then they had a linebacker underneath. I don't think every team's going to play like that, especially after seeing the way Rice was able to get over the top of those linebackers and beat the safeties, and then Worthy was able to outrun him. I think it's going to open up Kelsey eventually. Their teams are not used to playing the Chiefs. They played all last year without any other options than Kelsey, and they doubled him. And I think that's what you saw with Rice getting open a lot and Worthy being able to get underneath and take long touchdowns as well. I'm still confident in Kelsey being a top 3 tight end personally.
Yeah, I'd probably say closer, maybe top 5.
You want to put a pub sub on it?
Oh Jesus, here we go again. I'll put a pub sub on Likely season because I tell you what, this is definitely, I think, could be a change of the guard. Likely was definitely involved a lot last year, and now he's starting to get really involved. He had 12 targets yesterday. He's more athletic. He can split out wide. I really like him. It looked like Lamar was. I know it was kind of hurry up, but when he was on the field, Lamar was almost looked like he was looking for him as his first read. So I really like Isaiah Likely. If I'm a Andrews owner, I'm panicking a little bit. I'm definitely, if he's available, I'm going out and trying to handcuff him or trying to get him. And if I'm looking to, and it's going to cost people probably 30% of their fab if they want to acquire him, because people that waited on tight end and punted on tight end, they're going to spend a pretty good amount of fab to pick him up because he's definitely going to be involved in this offense. The Ravens have been looking for a second option besides Zay Flowers, who, by the way, got 10 targets and looked amazing. And, Andrews I don't think he's really as athletic as Likely. So now let's talk about Lamar a little bit.
I'm glad you went
the biggest.
I wanted to talk to Lamar too.
Yeah, I've been critical of Lamar a little bit, but he had an amazing game yesterday. I kind of feel for him because the line let him down. He's running all over the place. I
think the equipment manager let him down by not making Isaiah Likely wear one size smaller shoe.
Yeah, there you go. But I just don't think the Ravens can can win like this long term. I mean, you can't have your quarterback doing everything. And Derrick Henry did get 13 carries for 46 yards. It was definitely the way the game flow was. It kind of took him out of the game. So I'll go to Connor. We'll talk. I'll save Lamar for you, Sean. Connor, I want to talk to you about. Does Justice Hill have any standalone value now after his performance yesterday and the way they're gonna use him?
I think he's a deep roster spot. I don't think you're comfortable ever starting him. He's only did some of the passing. It was a negative game script for the Ravens, and they were in a lot of passing situations. I don't think Justice Hill outsnaps Henry again. I think Henry's probably still their go-to guy. I'm not playing Hill right now comfortably in any league I'm in.
Okay, he had
personally,
he had eight targets yesterday, which pretty good, not bad. 6 receptions. I mean, he's not gonna. He only got
I also think it's early season. They're trying to keep Henry healthy. They already said they were going to do that. So I think this is just part of that game.
Are you confident in Justice Hill getting 8 targets every game and still only putting up?
No, I think it's just going to slowly win as the season goes on.
Yeah.
No.
Okay, let's get into this because this performance that Lamar did yesterday, Sean, is this something that's going to be sustainable all year? I mean, can they win like this?
I don't think they can win like this, but I think fantasy-wise, it's sustainable for Lamar because that offensive line looks so damn bad that he's not going to have a choice but to run for 100 yards every game. Like, to be honest with you, that's the number one takeaway I took from this game is how bad that offensive line looked. I mean, it's the fact that their offensive line coach passed and all that happened. It was obvious that it was affecting those guys out there. They looked lost at certain times, and Lamar had no choice but to run like a madman. So him being smaller, faster, sprier, and everything like he was talking about this season and being able to get out of the way like that, or having to get out of the way like that, I should say, I think that's going to equate to, those types of running games from Lamar again, where we're looking at, 80 to 100 yards rushing from Lamar on a regular basis. And I'd be surprised if he gets a lot of over 300-yard passing games this year with the way that this game played out. But, if that O-line doesn't get any better, it's going to be a pretty scary season for him, injury-wise as well. You're going to be worried this guy's going to get hurt at some point.
Right. And before we move on from this game, we got to talk a little bit about.
Do you want to talk about the game break that just happened? Because I know that Connor really wants to talk about this Christian Watson touchdown that we just got.
Well, you guys are ahead of me, so you guys see it first.
It's our boy, brother. It's our boy.
I told you he's going to be the he's going to be the red zone option every time that when they're down there.
They just threw it to Wicks and it gets held, and now he's the red zone go-to. Come on.
He had a red zone early in the game.
Watson.
Romeo Dobbs. It's just going to be jumbled. It honestly is. He's targeting every single receiver just equally so far, besides maybe he's throwing it to Reed a little bit more. But to say he's the red zone option, that's kind of a overreaction.
He's had 3 red zone targets already.
And Dobbs and Wicks have had like 2 each. I mean, it's just like they put him on the inside slot.
Hey, Connor, it's okay to be
wrong. He pulled his hamstring on the celebration.
Oh, Jesus! All right. Well, before we get out of this game, we haven't talked about Xavier Worthy yet. I mean, a little bit, but I mean, this guy's electric, silky smooth. That first play that his first touchdown yesterday was just. I mean, when he split the seam and just ran for a touchdown, it looked so beautiful. I really like the kid. He's going to open up the offense for everybody else. I thought maybe he'd be just too small, but when you have 4.21 speed, it's a huge, game breaking ability. So
is he the Devon A-chain of wide receivers?
No.
Oh, come on.
No, he's not running between the
tackles. The Devon A-chain of wide receivers is Tyreek Hill, man. Like he's already playing on the same team as Devon A-chain.
So what do you guys think will happen? I'll go to Connor. So when the way you saw the offense run yesterday, where do you think Hollywood Brown, when he comes back, fits in that offense?
I think he's still in front of Worthy this season, honestly. I think he gets more targets. I do think they'll use Worthy, like you saw, like the end arounds, the jet sweeps and stuff like that. I think that's perfect for Worthy.
3 to 5 targets a game. That's going to be Worthy.
Yeah, exactly. I think he's going to be big play, big play guy that you're looking for. He's not something I'm looking for, in redraft, honestly.
If you took him in best ball,
Dynasty,
you're extremely happy.
Yeah, 100%. In Dynasty, you're loving the shares right now. He's not going to get I don't think he's going to get too banged up. They're not going to overload him because of what, they have Hollow and Brown. That's basically almost the same role, I would argue. But they'll just be able to use Worthy in some spots that Andy Reid's going to love to get a guy like that in there.
Yeah, that's for sure. That's for sure. So, anything else pop out to you guys from that game last night? I mean, I know that the
defense looked pretty solid. I mean, again, that O-line was pretty weak, so that definitely had a factor in on it. But I thought the Chiefs defense looked pretty good, held them to 20 points, and they're pretty good. I think that's the first time since sometime early last season that one of the top 5 offenses in the league got over 20 points on that defense.
Yeah, Bateman had a couple of good plays. He looked like he could be rosterable in some leagues, a deeper spot. He had some good catches.
Never going there again with that guy.
Hey, I'm just saying.
He's my juju. He burned me, bro. I'm not doing that ever again.
Yeah, he looked decent last night. I mean, if you drafted him, late rounds, you're feeling decent.
Yeah. Zoob's asking about Henry, and I think we didn't talk a ton about Henry, but I don't think he looked bad. I just think that the way the game played out,
it was the game flow.
He was in a negative game script there and passing down.
Think about like the first quarter, 4 straight first quarters like Derrick Henry had, and that might be the type of approach that they're going to take with him.
I mean, the Ravens played a damn good defense. I mean, the Chiefs are one of the best defenses in the league, and they're good against the run. So it's it's going to be a little harder for Henry to run through defensive line like that. He'll have better days, and I mean he scored.
He was a shoestring tackle from breaking one run for like 50 yards or something. Yeah. So he breaks that one tackle
and like I said, he didn't kill you. I mean, he scored a touchdown. So I
mean, he averaged like 4 yards a carry too. It's not like he was like 1 or 2 yards. I think it was like 3.8 something or something.
Yeah, it wasn't too bad. So. All right. Well, we're going to move on to we're going to talk about our website that launched this week, and within 48 hours we had over 500 hits, which we think was tremendous. And it's really we've worked really hard on this website for you guys. We want it to be a one-stop shop for you guys to go and get all your Ballsville information. It's looking really good, and Alex has been working real hard. We've all been working really hard on it. So it's theballsvillegame.com, all small caps. Definitely check it out if you haven't already and scroll through it. It's really cool. And I actually put a couple tools on there. There'll be a tool section. I'll be creating some tools for you guys to check out every week, like I said in the last podcast. And one of them that launched yesterday was the ultimate matchup tool. This is what it looks like. It's color coordinated. So basically, if you're looking at it right now, and that'll be in the tools section of the website. Right now, it's in the blog section, but we're going to be creating a tools tag for you guys to go and check it out. So if you look at this, it'll have the team, the opponent, the line, the over/under, the implied team total, and then if you look, I color coordinated all the rankings, and these went from last year, and so next week will be from week 1 defensive stats, and then every week will be so on. So you got the green's usually a top 12 matchup. The white would be like 13 through 20, and then anything over 20 will be a red matchup. So this will help you determine between players. If you have multiple guys going, trying to pick a receiver to play, and if you're not sure which one to go, you just go to the Ballsville matchup tool, and it'll point you in the right direction. So I spent a lot of time on this tool, and I like it. I use it quite a bit. So I'll be incorporating different tools. Tomorrow I'll be incorporating a DFS tool along with one of our other game managers, JoJo Hill. So we'll give you guys some DFS plays. Help you guys out with some ownership percentages, some plays that we like. So through the year, I'll be throwing some tools on there. They'll be in the tool section. And like I said, that'll help you guys out with lineup decisions and stuff. So we really appreciate all your support. Like I said, please like and subscribe to the podcast, and leave a review. So we're really doing the best job we can right now to get all this information for you guys, really help you guys out with all your fantasy football needs. So I don't know. What do you think about the website, Connor?
It looks great. I love it. I love the blog post and all the information about us and stuff. I think that's really cool, really unique, honestly, to see, everybody little story, but basically like a little snippet of what each other's lives and stuff stuff like that. And then it has each Ballsville leads in there. The Dragons, the Dinos are in there. Stuff like that. It's really cool.
And and if you guys scroll through the crew, there's a little icon that says the crew. You can scroll in there and see Sean's picture that every time I look at it, I just can't take him serious anymore. So Sean's picture's in there. So what do you think about the how the website's coming along there, Sean?
Oh, I love it, man. I'm excited. It's just it's been a lot of work, but it's been like one of those types of things that every time you get something that works out and you can upload this new portion onto the website, it's like really exciting and just kind of fuels the passion to just continue to move forward. So, a lot of things are coming, with the launch of the triathlon game and, a lot of the things we're doing on there. It's just going to be nice to have that one-stop hub for everybody to go to and really keep up with everything going on Ballsville. So, we're gonna have some blog posts and we're gonna turn some articles in and we're gonna kind of create an entire community where people are gonna have the opportunity to do their own blog posts and posting on there and stuff like that too. So we really want an interactive type of setup for this. So again, it's brand new. Please go check it out. It's the ballsvillegame.com. So that's the ballsvillegame.com. And we'd love to have as many of you guys come and check it out and leave as many comments as you'd like, because the more the merrier. All the help we can get, we're going to take.
Sean, you're going to have to write a blog on why the Bills got last in the division.
If the Bills get last in the division, I will definitely be writing a blog about that. Don't you worry.
All tears. Just don't be tears all on.
Yeah, it'll be like digital tears all over the paper.
All right. Let's move on to our games. We'll try. If this game ends before we log off, we will definitely analyze this game. The Packers and the Eagles. Right now it's 26-24. If somebody's can't watch it, with 9:13 left in the third quarter. So we'll keep you guys up to date with that anything fantasy implied that happens. So let's get into some of these games for this weekend. We'll start off in the Meadowlands. Well, the Vikings visit the Giants. The spreads, the Vikings are -1.5. The over/under's 41. I'll go to Sean here. Sean, what's your takeaways in this game? What are you looking for in this game, and some guys that might pop to you?
I got to go with Favors. You got to start out right out the gate, man, with the young rookie. I want to see what this kid does coming out. And I think as far as matchups are concerned, like this is definitely a matchup that he should be able to take advantage of. So I'm really hoping that, Danny Not So Dimes can actually show up and play decent enough to give us an eyeball on what this kid's going to be.
Got you. Go ahead. What about you, Connor?
Looking forward to see what Justin Jefferson and Addison look like with Darnold back there. I think this is going to be a gross game overall. I think they're both, nobody's picking them to win their divisions or anything like that. They're pretty underdogs. I think the line's what you said, 1.5. So
1.5,
basically coin flip almost. And I'm not sure the Giants. We'll see what Neighbors. I bet Neighbors gets 10 plus targets tomorrow. I hope. Maybe Jefferson will hopefully score some fantasy points as well, but we'll see what Darnold looks like tomorrow. Not looking forward to it, but we'll see.
Yeah, this is going to be kind of a snoozer. I guess I want to see how Justin Jefferson does with Darnold. I've always said I think JJ's like quarterback proof, so I still expect a really good game from him. I agree with Connor. I think they're just going to pepper Neighbors with targets. As far as like the running game, I want to see how much Aaron Jones has left. see what he looks like. And then the Giants backfield, I know it's going to be Singletary, but I'm wondering if they're going to sprinkle in a little bit of Tyrone Tracy a little bit. So
yeah, I hope so.
Hopefully
Maybe it's a little early though. We'll see. He might get some work later on in the year.
Yeah. So other than that, it's going to be, there's no Hawkinson, so thank God we don't have to talk about him. So
Ken's not here, so we're good.
Yeah. So I think it was yesterday. So I think we were watching the game yesterday, or when I was watching the game yesterday, and I think after Likely scored his first touchdown, I think Zubakis wrote somebody in one of the leagues, thank God you picked up Mund and didn't play Likely. So some guy in the league picked up Mund at the last second and played him over Likely.
That was in our triathlon league.
Yeah, that was
in our our 20 man. So when you have no tight ends, because there's basically maybe 12 playable tight ends, and then everybody else is a straddler. And so I don't remember who it was, but Jay Morris, maybe
J.M. Hobbs.
Yeah. He played a flyer. You have to, but he played the wrong one.
Yeah,
we'll see.
I would have played Likely over Munt all day.
I know. I would have
never even considered
what
that.
Are you doing? So, and like Sean said earlier, we did a pilot yesterday. We actually finished the draft right before the game our triathlon league, which is the starts off week 1 through 8 through redraft, the redraft mode, and then it's 9 through 13. Is that we said 13 that does the guillotine style, and then the rest of the league into the championship is the best ball. So it's a 20-man league. We got a bunch of analysts to get in and some Ballsville gamers to get in, and we drafted, and so that was pretty exciting.
How'd y'all like y'all's teams? How'd they end up? The 20-man was hard, huh?
Well, me and Sean had a conversation yesterday because I took Rashee Rice as my third pick. So I start off with Wilson, Wilson, Cup, and Rice, and he said, "Should you have taken Richardson over Rice?" And I'm like, you know what? I probably should have went quarterback, but after yesterday's performance, I'm glad I took Rice.
Yeah.
So
after yesterday's performance, I'm even more upset that you didn't take Richardson. I wanted Rice to fall 4 more picks.
What about you, Sean? How'd you like your team?
I'm happy with it. I wish Patrick would have performed a little better, being that he was an early round pick for me. But other than that, I'm still pretty happy with it. Even if I lose this week, I think I got a solid enough team to survive throughout the season. So at least enough to get to where I'm in the guillotine with some real solid, chances.
Yeah, I think we have a step ahead on the competition next year doing that game because, this draft was really different than almost any draft you're going to do because you have to draft for best ball, you have to draft for redraft, and you have to draft for guillotine. So, you really don't want your bye weeks, honestly, between week 9 and week 14 or something like that, or even before then. My strategy was to try to get.
What is your strategy, though? Because for me, I think about it, I want my bye weeks late. Because I want the guillotine aspect to come into play where I can fill those voids.
Yeah, but then if you had it week 14, then you're in the playoffs, and then your best ball is kind of screwed up. My strategy was get them off early, basically try to have all the same, and then throw 1 week, and then hopefully you can cover that on the back end because it's by standings.
Now before we move on to the next game, I want to ask Connor. So Connor, you were the first one to take a second quarterback in that draft.
Yeah.
And I remember you writing in the chat that, hey, we got to prepare for week 9 when the guillotine comes, because the guillotine ends up turning from it turns from a 1 quarterback into a super flex format. So you were, and actually if you wouldn't have taken Herbert, I was going to take him.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Once it switches to super flex, I just felt like the quarterbacks would be a lot more valuable. And I felt like I had enough, I already hit tight end, and tight end in a 20-man league. If you don't get one early, and you're you're playing Munt, so and I already hit wide receiver, and I'm not a running back guy, and I think the top running back at the time was Montgomery, and I already had both of my wide receivers playing. So I was just like, well, once this changes to Superflex, I think Herbert might be a top 12 QB. So we'll see. But it was just a risk it for nobody's ever done a league like this, so I was hoping, hopefully it pays
That's
off.
because we created it, bro.
Yeah, we created
Nobody's
it.
ever done this before.
Exactly. That's what.
You guys just wait. You gamers wait till next season. Next season when we launch these triathlon games, you guys are gonna love it. We had so much fun drafting this league. It just there's so many twists and turns and strategy that you have to really think about. So it's going to be a tremendous game. People are gonna.
You might even be way off base. Like we might have this full strategy we think is so perfect, and then it turns out that we're completely retarded about it.
So all right, we're gonna move from one boring game to another boring game. The Carolina Panthers travel down to New Orleans. It's a interdivision game. So the Saints are 4-point favorite, 41.5 over under. I'll start with Sean this time. Sean, what are you getting out of this game? What players you think are going to pop?
Well, I kind of have to lean the Saints because I did pick this game as my game in the pick'em pool. So my deal pool. I know. I figured if I'm gonna take the Saints, this is the week to take them and get rid of them and move on, so that they're not. I don't want to waste it on a good team. So like I'm gonna take the shot, and I might be out week 1. Who knows? but I'm hoping the Saints can pop off against a really bad defense. I know Carolina brought in a lot of help on their offensive side, but I'm not 100% sure that their defense is going to be much better. So. I anticipate a decently high-scoring opportunity for the Saints, and I hope they take advantage of it. Kamara would be the biggest benefactor, in my opinion, if that happens. And then I'd like to see something out of A.T. Perry just to kind of get a little bit of validation in him. So that's a guy that I'd like to sneakily keep an eye on. But other than the big name like Olave, there's really Olave, Kamara are kind of going to be the ones that I think are going to benefit the most. And if you really, really need to stream Derek Carr, this might be a week for it.
No, you're right. Now, Connor, I know you took, if I remember right, you took quite a bit of Alvin Kamara this year in drafts. Yeah. So this should be a pretty big game for him then, right?
Yeah, I hope so. I mean, I'm excited to see, again, not excited to watch the game really, but excited to see if my stocks and Kamara pay off. I think I had him as a top 10 QB. I have him like a pub sub on that. So excited to see that. I want to see if Bryce Young is able to rebound from the year he had last year with a couple new weapons. Deontay Johnson. I want to see Leggett, Jatavion Sanders, Chuba Hubbard, see if he's anything before, Jonathan Brooks gets back. But besides that, it's not, another, like you said, another snoozer of a game. But, I mean, it could be interesting to see some of these fantasy guys, Kamara or Rashid, Shaheed.
I'd like to see where Leggett's falling on their depth chart.
Yeah,
and then they're also they're missing a lot of tight ends on Carolina's
team. That's what I'm saying.
So Sanders could be a guy to watch this week too. I would have definitely played him over a Johnny Munt per se.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. We don't know what Munt's going to do. Munt might be Sam Darnold's go-to.
Right. Watch Burrow talking all this mess about Munt, and then he comes out and outscores likely.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not saying a word about Munt because I know I'm probably playing him in some, random league, and y'all are talking crap at him. If I say something,
he plays so well that they're like, we're just gonna leave TJ on the pup for a while, and we'll bring him back whenever we feel like it. Maybe week 12 or so.
All right. Before I have Sarah play the song, we're gonna move on from Munt talk. That's bad. Nobody wants to hear Munt talk. So I guess I'd like to. I'm starting to grow a little bit on Deontay Johnson. I think he'll provide some easy.
What about Mingo?
I don't know about Mingo.
You can't say something about a guy and then expect it not to come back around.
I mean, this is a big year for him. I mean, he's either going to step up or he's not going to step up. It's we'll see what happens.
I think he will be second I think he'll be on the field for the opposite side of the field from Deontay for most of the game.
I think he's going to be as a kick, a punt returner or whatever.
If he doesn't beat out, if he doesn't at least out there in 3 wide receiver sets, then he's in trouble. So he's got to beat out Adam Thielen, man. If you can't beat out old man Thielen,
he couldn't last year.
Come on, man. Tiffany Amber Thielen, give me a break. All right, let's move on. We're going on to a better game.
Don't talk about Kelly that way. This is my first crush.
We're going to talk about a better game down in hot Miami. The Jags. It'll be interstate rivalry. The Dolphins are minus 3.5 point underdogs. Over unders 49. I'm really interested to see the speed in Miami and watch all them guys run all over the place. We'll start with Connor. Connor, who's popping off this week in this game?
Miami's an underdog?
No, Miami's a favorite.
Okay. That's all. I was just making sure I heard you right. But yeah, I'm ready to see Tyreek Hill go off for another 200 yards. A-Chain, see what if he's efficient like he was last year. I mean, see if he can get some big play TDs. I really want to see Brian Thomas is who I want to see in that offense over there for the Jaguars. I want to see if he's their go-to, or if they still go to Kirk, or who they actually target from the Jacksonville side.
I'm going to say he is too. I think he is going to be their go-to.
Yeah, I hope so. I agree. I think he is too. I haven't drafted much at Kirk because he's going as their wide receiver run. He's going with McLaurin, who really has no target competition. He's going with Jaden Reed. I mean, Jaden Reed has some target competition, obviously, but obviously
it hasn't mattered so far. This game.
Yeah, exactly. He can fight through it, but I've faded Kirk a little bit, but I agree with Sean. I think Brian Thomas is probably their by the end of the season at least their go-to.
I'd also like to see Trevor Lawrence step it up and show us that he could be like a really decent player this year.
Yeah, I hope so too. I mean, I've invested quite a bit in dynasty shares of Trevor Lawrence just because he was cheaper than he probably should be, just because of how he played the second half of the year last year.
Yeah, dynasty especially. I mean, he's where he was getting taken in some leagues was borderline criminal in my opinion.
Yeah, like late third sometimes is just
Yeah. Guys like Kirk's going ahead of him, I thought, and dynasty was just unbelievable.
Are you guys over 49 or under 49?
Probably over for me because it's early in the season in Miami, and Miami's really good at scoring early in the year. But I mean, they are playing
Jordan.
Was that actual? Did he catch it?
Yeah, it looked like it from my angle, but I mean, still like 15. It looks like J Love.
We got a game break, everybody. We got a potential interception. Potential interception for.
That's why you don't throw to your backup tight end, Luke Musgraves. Oh. Throw it to your tight end one.
Oh,
that was a terrible throw. Oh yeah,
this is a bad read too.
All righty, we will. Anything else in this game you guys want to talk about?
Yeah, I'd like to see. I want to see obviously how Jalen Waddle looks coming out, but I want to see how much usage Wright gets and where he falls in that running back rotation at all. I think if anything happens where he gets into this game on a decent enough basis, I think that's going to hurt Mostert more than Achane. So I think the share between those two is going to be something I'm keeping an eye on.
I don't know if Wright gets much. I mean, he could obviously, but I don't think he gets much early in the season. We'll see how. I want to see like the split between Achane and Mostert mostly. If they're still depending on Achane for the passing downs and stuff like that, or if they're going to run him a little bit more than they did last year. Hopefully, he can stay healthy.
Yeah, it's going to be fun.
Yeah, this will be a fun game to watch. All right, we'll move on to the next game. Will be Pittsburgh at Atlanta. Atlanta's a 3.5 point favorite, and the over/under is 41.5. What do you think, Sean? Who's popping in this game?
So, I mean, obviously on Atlanta, we want to see what Drake London looks like having a finally decent quarterback like Kirk Cousins there throwing the ball, but. I'm going to take it in a little bit of a different direction. And for me, I want to see how much usage they end up getting and if they can finally unlock the potential in Kyle Pitts. I feel like Kyle Pitts, he was just outside of that top 6. Him and Kittle kind of in the beginning of the offseason, like he was just above Kittle. And then I think Kittle kind of took over above him. And then I've even seen him fall behind Evan Ingram a couple of times in the leagues. So, to me, I feel like Pitts has been kind of overlooked in
Not
what
by me.
really happened.
Not by me.
So that's the guy that I'm really keeping an eye on that side of the ball in this game, more so than anything else. And then on the other side of the ball, I want to see how much of a split Najee and Warren have and like how much 50, 50, 60, 40, like wherever that kind of falls between those two. And, how does Justin Fields look when he's throwing the ball with George Pickens, and see how those two look together, since I feel like that's going to be the long-term future of Pittsburgh. So I want to see that combination.
Saquon just scored his third TD.
That's that now.
Uh-oh.
Oh, is that Barkley again?
Game break?
Yep, game break. Stage one just scored his third TD of the game.
Wow, look at that. Saquon well on his way to RB1 this year.
Praying for all my guys that are facing Saquon this week.
How did they get the ball so close to the end zone again? What was it that happened?
I think that was
Love INT.
Yeah.
Oh, Jordan Love threw an eye. Oh, that's right. Jordan Love. Who was it? Somebody was really high on Jordan Love this season.
I'm still high on him.
Oh, that's right. It was Scott. Yeah.
Still high on him.
Hey, at least now he's got to come back strong in this game, right? And throw the ball. So just don't throw it to the guys in the white shirts.
Do you, Connor? Do you think this Pittsburgh offense is gonna look like a Farty Smith offense that was in Atlanta last year?
No, I think he's a little bit better as offensive coordinator. I think he was better in Tennessee than he was, He's
better as a billionaire's kid.
Sorry?
So he's better as a billionaire's kid. Should stay out of football.
Yeah, I think he's a little bit better as offensive coordinator. I hope he doesn't, do what he did last year. But I mean, he has Justin Fields. It looks like he has Justin Fields as his starter week 1. It looks like Russell hurt his calf, and they're pretty precautious about that. I want to see what Pickens does. I have a lot of Pickens this year, personally. I want to see who emerges as a wide receiver 2 there. I think Roman Wilson's out, so somebody else.
I think it's going to be more Freiermuth, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it might be. I don't know. I think it's probably going to be, the split between Najee and Warren, getting backfield touches for, and then a lot of Fields rushing the ball. Fields is going to be the starter there.
They have Van Jefferson there, right? As their wide receiver 3. So yeah, I like that kid coming out. I mean, he's kind of like a poor man's Robert Woods, So maybe he can get a little bit of love, but
yeah, Van Jefferson, he sucks at football, man. He's done, man.
But yeah, I agree with Sean on the Atlanta side. I really want to see what Pitts does. I mean, I've been big on Pitts this year. I had a top 5 tight end, had him above Kincaid. Have a couple sub bets on that. Yes, I know, Bills fan.
That is one of the most ridiculous things I've ever heard. You want to put a pup sub on it? Pitts over Kincaid?
I already have one.
Well, then let's do another one if you're so dang confident.
Again, that was a hot take. That was one of my hot takes on the year.
You should have went to Sean. You should have went to Sean first privately.
I already talked about it. I just put it out there, and Sean's a little lazy on the Discord sometimes, and so he's not looking at it.
Wow.
I want to see what Bijan Algier, if they said Algier's supposed to have a big year this year. I don't know. Hopefully not as big as last year. I mean, even though it wasn't that good, he just he took some snaps away from Bijan. I really hope that doesn't happen.
I've got Bijan in my high dollar league, so
now that we're on the Bijan train, I mean, do you think there's possibility Bijan will be? I mean, Barkley's had a pretty good game right now, but Bijan's they got to open him up this week, don't you think? I mean,
I hope so. I hope they throw him the ball a lot.
Did Breece Hall pass Bijan for you guys before the start of the season? As far as the rankings? As far as your RB ranking?
No, I had Bijan. I had Bijan above Breece still, I believe.
I still had Breece above him just a tad.
You still have Breece above Bijan?
Just by a tad, yeah.
And you the opposite?
I believe so. Dynasty, I think it was the other way around. I don't remember exactly, but
yeah, I think in redraft, I think I put Breece just slightly over Bijan in redraft because of the Tyler Algier scare. That's really the one thing that changed my perspective towards the end. But it was so close. Like, I was happy to get either one of them, but I would have
exactly. It's whichever. I had one fall to me at like the 109 in one draft in a 1 QB league. And then I had one fall to me in the 108 and another 1 QB league I did. And so, whichever one falls to you, I think you're confident in getting at that spot. So
yeah, Bijan fell to me at the 108 in our triathlon draft. And I was amazed. I couldn't believe it, especially since Brees and McCaffrey went in the top 3.
Yeah, it was Jonathan Taylor went right before him too, or something like that.
No, he went right after him.
Right,
I took him at 8, and then at 9, Taylor went right after him.
Okay.
Yeah, that's why Scott ended up taking Garrett Wilson, I believe.
Yeah, I took Garrett Wilson. All right, let's move on to another game. We'll move on to Cincinnati. We're on to Cincinnati. So,
you even kind of look like Belichick when you said that.
So New England goes into Cincinnati. The Bengals are 7.5 point favorites. Over unders another garbage 40. We've already talked about this earlier with the Cincinnati receiving corps. So I'll go to Sean. Sean, this New England offense is going to be probably not very good. I know we've talked in the past on when we think Drake May's going to eventually get in there. So, I mean, is there anybody in this game that on either side of the field besides maybe Burrow and Chase Brown, Zach Moss, I mean, maybe Stevenson? Who else are you playing, really? What receiver are you playing in New England?
Polk.
I mean, if I have to play a receiver, it's Polk, but I prefer not to play a receiver for sure. Like, that would be like if I'm having to sit Jamar Chase because he's only going to get, 50% of the snaps and 3 targets in the game. I'll have to play Polk or something, but otherwise, I'm not playing Polk unless I absolutely have to. I'm not playing any receiver on that team. I would probably consider Hunter Henry over any other receivers, to be honest with you, and take the tight end over the receiver, especially with Brissett throwing the ball.
Now, Connor, this game's probably going to get out of hand. So, do you think it's a pretty good spot for Zach Moss?
I want to see the split between Moss and Chase Brown, what they actually do with them. I think one week it was like early in the preseason, it was like, oh, Chase Brown's the starter. Chase Brown's the starter on the depth chart. And then like right before the season started, Zach Moss is a starter on the depth chart, and they have Chase Brown returning punts and stuff like that, which I don't think is too crazy. I think Jaden Reed's returning punts for Green Bay. So I want to see that split. I want to see what they do if Burrow plays, obviously, but I don't know if this game gets out of hand, honestly, especially if Chase doesn't play. They really had, no receivers to target really. And then, we'll see what the New England with a couple of targets, maybe in Baker and Polk show. I think somebody called it a trap game. Maybe I don't know if you can really have a trap game week 1, but
I think this is the game that 90% of people are taking on the pick'em.
Yeah, I mean, probably. Yeah, I wouldn't expect. Yeah,
I mean, Cincinnati's implied team total is 25, and New England's is freaking 15. So, I mean,
there's Jacobs finally.
I was to say he's looking spry. I was just about to say Jacobs is looking spry.
I mean, finally, this is first, 10-yard plus carry or catch.
No, not at all. He just had one right before that.
It's like
just
8
had
yards.
a 10-yard carry just a minute ago. No, he had a 10-yard carry for first down right before this play. Stop hating on the man.
Yeah,
that's your team, man. You're supposed to be stoked, dude.
I said finally.
All right, so let's move on to the next game. We'll move on to we're going to start off with Sean because it's his team. So the Cards travel to Buffalo. Buffalo's a 6.5 point favorite. Over unders 47. That's pretty nice over under, not bad.
Bills in the over.
Sean, go ahead and tell us who's popping on either side.
Well, I think that Trey McBride is the guy to watch on Arizona. I think our defense, we're going to be playing better against the receivers and the tight ends with our injury to Matt Milano. So I think that if you're going to target one of the guys, and they're all playable. Obviously, you're not going to sit MHJ. You're not going to sit, McBride. You took him too early in your drafts to sit him without any kind of concerns. So you're going to play those guys. But I think McBride's the one who's really going to benefit the most. And then, on the Buffalo side, I want to see what happens with Coleman. Obviously, how many targets does he get? How involved in the offense is he? I do think it's going to be mostly Kincaid, and then Shakir will be the second most targets. But, I want to see if Coleman can sprinkle into the third role there and at least start out that way. If he does, then there is a chance that he ends up taking over as the number one over Shakir as the season goes on. But, if he comes out and he's barely playing at all, maybe gets a couple of red zone type targets or something like that, I'd be a little more concerned about his viability for this season.
Wasn't he listed as the wide receiver 4 on that depth chart recently?
I wouldn't be surprised.
He's
probably
behind Matt Collins.
Yeah, probably behind Shakir and Matt Collins. Yeah, and Samuel.
Yeah,
he's probably behind those 3 right now. So it doesn't mean that's how he's going to be played. That's just probably how they have him listed.
Yeah, I was just kidding.
They're famous in Buffalo for slow playing their rookies. They did it to Kincaid last year. They've done it with their defensive players they've taken in the first round. So they're just that's how they usually play.
Bad at football. It's because Kincaid sucks at football.
Wow, Reed just dropped. All right, well, go ahead and
you can't take Scott sucks at football for a guy that actually is really good at football.
He's really good. What's his name?
Break down the Arizona side.
He's better than your kicker, Connor. We got to miss Green Bay.
I was listening to Scott talk, and I didn't even get to see him miss it. God dang it. Break down the Arizona side. Yeah, I want to see what MHJ does. Sean says, I want to see what Trey McBride does. Really, really hoping Kyler has a big game. I think this is a good game. I think on your list you had Buffalo as 6.5 point favorites. Is that right?
Buffalo is 6.5 point favorites.
Yeah, I think this is the game you go a dog here. Honestly, I want to see what I think. I mean, people are sleeping on the Cardinals just because of the year they had last year because Kyler is out so often. I think they got a big target in MHJ. They got McBride who flashed. McBride, and they got James Conner and a rookie Benson back there. And then you have a couple targets you can Dortch and can't think of the other guy's name.
I'm going to tell you right now that the Bills D-line is going to surprise a lot of people. Uh-oh.
I don't know.
Uh-oh.
Wow.
Oh, I don't know why he ran into that guy. It looked like if he'd have just ran the other direction, he'd broke that for a TD. It's like he just ran into the dude.
It looks like the receivers got confused on blocking him, and they just left him alone.
Well, watch him run into the D-back. This is great. The guy that actually tackles him, it's almost like he just is like, dude, I'm just going to run this fucker over.
God, man.
Look at that. Yeah, let me just go right into him.
Nah, Barkley's going to have a monster
year,
man.
It was Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown were like, you block him, and then just didn't block him. And so he thought one of them was going to block him, and they just didn't.
God, you throw the ball to Barkley, I need like 17 yards. All right, we're going to move on to the next game. Another game that's got a lot of fantasy implications. The Houston Texans travel to Indy. Houston's a 2.5 point favorite going traveling on the road. 49 is the over under. This should be a massive game. This will be one of my favorites to watch. Definitely if you're into DFS, there'll be a lot of guys here to play. Back and forth. Basically, you could stack this game. So, Connor, I'll start with you. I mean, you got the floor, man. I mean, this game should be a dandy.
Yeah, you can take your pick with who you want to watch here, whether it's, the receiving core of Houston, whether it's Mixon in that new offense, whether it's Shroud or Anthony Richardson.
It's Shred, not Shroud. Shred. CJ Shred.
Yeah, Shroud is not appropriate.
My bad. Whether it's Michael Pittman, whether it's Jonathan Taylor, there's so many fantasy, like Scott said, so many fantasy players that you just love to watch. Should be a good game overall, besides even fantasy. I think those are probably the two favorites in that division. So we'll see how that works out. If Anthony Richardson can stay healthy for one game, I like Indianapolis's chances there. Honestly,
wow, really.
Well, just their chance. I wouldn't pick them to win. I think it's, they have a.
I mean, the line's good. The line's.
Yeah.
It's 2.5. I mean, it's not
exactly
crazy.
Yeah,
but
I think they're getting a little, excited there in Indianapolis. I have a bunch of family there, and they're pretty excited about the season. So.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a fun one, man. This is going to be one of those games that I'm for sure going to try to get on my little 4-game block that I watch.
Yeah,
and keep an eye on because there's so much fantasy implications. 2 high-powered offenses, 2 teams that people are considering to be an upward trajectory. So this is going to be a fun one, man.
Yeah.
Got you. All right, we'll move on. I have not much to say. Like I said, that's going to be definitely one of the games I'm going to be targeting to keep my eye on a little bit more than others.
Are they working on Watson's calves?
No, that's not Watson. That's Jordan Love.
Oh, that's Love?
Yeah.
Yo.
Uh-oh. Your boy Love's got tight calf.
Tight what? Got what?
Tight calf.
I'm
It's a
right
thing.
behind. Oh,
Look at
okay. They got. Oh, he's working. They're working the gun. They're just cramps. No big deal. All right, another game that I'm going to be excited to watch, and I think a lot of people will, especially on the one side. But the Tennessee Titans go to Chicago. Chicago's actually a home favorite. They're minus 3.5, 44.5 over under. We'll start with Sean. Sean, you got to be watching the quarterbacks in this matchup, right?
Oh, absolutely, man.
Quarterback.
Absolutely. Quarterback.
Quarterbacks.
No, man, I want to see what Will Levis has to bring to the table, dude. I'm excited to see what that kid's gonna do, especially since they've stacked that offense around him like they did, you know? Like they didn't bring in the guys that they brought in. They didn't pay Calvin Ridley all that money, you know, to come in and just have the guys run the same kind of ground and pound offense they've been running for years. So, you know, I'm excited to see what happens on that side of the ball for sure. Like,
What about you, Sean? I know you're probably gonna be interested in the Bears, right?
Me?
Yes, sir.
me or
Yeah.
Gunn?
You're up.
Yeah. Yeah. I want to see what the Bears can, which receiver, promotes himself, is able to get out there, get the targets and stuff. Who's Caleb's, if it's Rome or if it's still DJ Moore there, or even it's Keenan Allen. And I know Keenan Allen has been dealing with some injuries. I think he's still questionable.
Heel,
last
I
time
believe, right? Yeah, I believe it's a heel.
Yeah. So if he plays, I want to see what the split is between them. If he's who's Caleb's go-to. I'm hearing a lot of good things about Rome.
I was going to say the same, man. I think Rome is sneakily becoming the potential number one target in that offense earlier than people anticipated.
Yeah, for sure. And want to see what the run Swift, if he still has something from last year. We'll see. Komet. I mean, there's a couple options there.
Yeah, I think that I'm definitely want to see the triplets out there and see who Caleb really attaches to. And I also want to see. I know it might sound boring, but I kind of want to see the split with Pollard and Spears.
Yeah, me too. Yeah,
I want to see that split. I know a lot of people in the drafts, going through the season, that a lot of people would pass on Pollard, pass on Spears, or maybe they would draft more Spears and pass on Pollard. So we'll see how much, Pollard having a new environment, if that does anything for his fantasy value.
that could have broke the game wide open.
Yeah. There was a pick six dropped, brother.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you're probably about to see it here.
He was just trying to throw the ball out of bounds and just didn't get it, high enough.
I think he was trying to throw to that guy, and at the last second, he saw the other dude coming and was like,
Oh yeah. That would have been a game changer for sure.
100%.
That wasn't a very smart decision by Hurts.
Not at all. He's going to have one more down. To
Sometimes
try
he
to
makes some bonehead plays, man. You're like, what are you doing, man? Why would you do that?
Yeah, that first interception was kind of one of those.
If you're gonna try to throw it out of bounds, just throw it high out of bounds. What are you trying? I mean, I know were you really trying to complete
another
that?
pick. There it is. He just did it again. He just threw an interception in the end zone.
Oh, did he?
And they didn't even need it because
and now he's they got him.
and they didn't even need to do anything.
Sorry, folks. We're just entrenched in this game. You guys,
This was one of the dumbest throws right here. Like he's hitting the wrong direction, throws it across his body, the middle of the field.
Oh my God, that's such a bad pass.
Terrible throw.
They're on the freaking 20-yard line and they're up 5. You kick a field goal. It's they can't.
Why didn't he just go down in the end zone, man? What's he doing trying to run it out, man?
It's just
Lost 5 yards.
Dude. You're expecting too much out of Jair.
All right, let's move on to another game. This will be one watched closely by our producer, Sarah M21. We got the Vegas Raiders heading to SoFi to play the LA Chargers. This is the Chargers are a 3-point favorite. The over-under is very low, 39.5. Connor, why does this look so low? There's a lot of fantasy players in this game, especially on the Vegas side and with and even on the Chargers side. I mean, you still got some guys out there.
I don't think, Vegas sets these lines. I don't think they don't trust either of those offensive right now. The Chargers are down. They're probably top receiver. No, I'm just joking. DJ Chark's not their top receiver. Hopefully it's Ladd McConkey. I'm hoping I hope Ladd gets a lot of action. Hope, Minshew is able to get.
I know Alex said all about Josh Palmer.
I like Josh Palmer. I like Josh Palmer, especially at his ADP. I don't think he's their wide receiver 1 this year. Personally, I think it's Ladd. I think they use the draft capital on Ladd for a reason. But I got
a 50-yard prop bet on Palmer.
Hopefully, Herbert throws for 200, 300 yards. So
the Raiders defense is pretty solid. So that's, I don't know if
Chargers have no rush game either. So,
the type of offense that they're going to run, though, I'm not sure if, a 300-yard passing game is really in the cards for this game.
Yeah, Vegas is really telling us that it's going to be pretty low, but I don't know. Well, I guess we'll see.
Crosby's a beast, man. They're going to have to do a lot of quick passes to get the ball out of Herbert's hand.
How about Brock Bowers, man? I mean,
yeah, I want to see Brock. Yeah, I want to see a lot of that. I want to see what Minshew can do with those targets on that offense. I
really hope that he comes out and just slings the ball, just like no holds barred. Who cares? Just get out there and fling it around, dude. Doesn't matter. You can't got nothing to lose. I want that water boy aspect. Last game of the season, nothing to lose now. Like, just go out there and say that way.
Yeah. What do you think about the news? What do you think about the news that they're saying that Vidal is going to handle the third down work?
I think that's great for all the stocks I have in him.
Yeah,
I'm not sure how true that is.
Sean, what happened, Sean?
Josh Jacobs just broke a 30-yard run.
Oh wow! A lot of
spoilers.
Boy Jacobs. That's your boy Jacobs.
I told you, I moved him up, man. I moved him up in the rankings, man.
Yeah, he now has a whopping 10 fantasy points. He's been inefficient. He was inefficient that whole first half. He has a couple big runs here, which is good. Hopefully,
he's inefficient. They're running that other guy.
It's not his fault. Every time they had holes, the other guy was in.
That's true. Taking him off the field, man.
And they're really switching in all of their positions. Their tight ends, their wide receivers. They've been subbing in and out a lot. The running backs too. I think Jacobs has played most of the snaps this half, though. I haven't really seen Wilson.
So they're showing a replay of his horrible pass. Oh, AJ was wide open if he'd have just thrown it earlier.
And he slipped a little bit. Not that it mattered much, but.
Yeah. All right, we got a few more games to get through. I know we've been so entrenched with this game. So next game we're going to look at is Denver traveling to Seattle. Seattle's -6 at home, 41.5 over under. I'll start this one off. I'm looking forward to seeing Bo Nix, obviously. He looked pretty good in the preseason. I think he's going to surprise a lot of people this year. He was an older quarterback coming out of college, a little more seasoned. He's got a good coach coaching him up. I'd like to see Javonte Williams. I want to see if he's back to his old self again from the knee injury. I know they're going to sprinkle in some McLaughlin on third downs and stuff, but I want to see that. The Seattle side, I want to see the running back distribution. I'm pretty sure it's going to be Kenny Walker quite a bit. I'm sure I'd like to see how Charbonnet does, and then I want to see how involved another year under in the league is JSN. I want to see JSN and see how he's used in this offense. Slowly taking on the role from Tyler Lockett. Anything on that game, guys?
Yeah, I'd love to see. I want to see what JSN does a lot. I want to see what Cortland Sutton does, if that's his favorite, if that's Nick's favorite target. Want to see. Yeah, that's basically it. With Bo Nix, obviously, you want to see what he does his rookie year. Want to see JSN. Want to see if JSN even out targets Metcalf. It's been something I've been big on. I think JSN has
targets Lockett for sure.
Yeah,
Maybe,
I've been really big on JSN this offseason, so I hope he can. I have a lot of shares in him as well. So
I think seeing this offense, because this is going to be the first time I think we get to see what Sean Payton has envisioned for that offense. I think when he had Russell there, he was basically confined to trying to work with what Russell does, and it's not what Sean Payton does. So now that he's got his hand-picked quarterback to play with, and I think Javonte is going to come back strong this year, and he's going to be utilized a lot like what Alvin Kamara used to be when he was with Saints. So I'm hoping that, that will be kind of what we get out of this offense. And if that's the case, Javonte Williams is going to take a huge jump up. And I also think like Troy Franklin is the guy that I'm really eyeballing in the receiving core to see how that connection works.
I don't know if he's even
or Marvin Mims. Honestly, Marvin Mims too is another.
I want to see.
No, I think he.
Yeah, I forgot to mention Marvin Mims. I want to see how he's incorporated this year. And then for you guys that punted on tight ends, I mean, if you ended up picking up Greg Dulcich, they usually say a rookie quarterback's best friends is tight end. So if he could stay healthy, I think Dulcich could be a nice little tight end there. All right, we'll move on to the next game. We have Washington traveling to Tampa. Another 3-point game. We got Tampa a 3-point favorite, 42.5 over under. In this game, obviously we're all looking at Jaden Daniels. See how he does, how he stacks up to the other rookie quarterbacks. Looking at the split between Eckler and Brian Robinson Jr., who I really like. Terry's by himself. The number one. We'll have to see if De'Ami Brown steps up, is possibly a number 2. And then on the Tampa side, I'm looking how they're going to use Godwin in the slot. Should be in that target hog role. And then I want to see if Rashad White is going to get all the run, or I know they really like that Bucky Irvin quite a bit. So see if they sprinkle him in a little bit. Other than that, what do you guys think?
I think you covered it all, honestly. I mean, any point I was going to talk about Bucky Irving, if that's going to be a split or not. Really excited about Daniels. Want to see if De'Ami Brown is anything. I've picked him up in a couple leagues. The other guy, I can't say his last name, starts with a Z. See if he's anything.
Alameda Zacchaeus or Zamidas or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. I can't say his last name. We'll just really want to see Daniels, and
I want to see the split between the backs and where Eckler and Robinson, how that split between those two falls on the Washington side. And then I'd like to see how much involvement Cade Otton has on the Tampa side. And if that's because that's a sleeper tight end that I have in some leagues that I punted the tight end position. So I want to see him get utilized more in that offense.
You have a lot of Cade. Yeah.
No, I was just going to say, go ahead and look at Otton's splits in the playoffs. I mean, he had a really good playoff run. He was getting targeted a lot. So I like the Cade Otton call.
I have a lot of Otton in leads. I have TJ Hawkinson in. He was one of the guys. If I picked TJ Hawkinson, it was usually later, and then I came back around and picked Otton just to cover my weeks that TJ Hawkinson's out. I have him in a couple dynasties as well, so we'll see what Otton is.
Got you. All right. No more talk on Jaden, huh? You guys got to be excited to watch Jaden.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you covered a lot of it, but I want to see what happens with Jaden and specifically how much does he target Terry? And if he hits Terry quite early often in this game, and it's obvious, I think Terry McLaurin is going to be an easy wide receiver 2 for this season without a problem. Like you're going to get a steal on your draft stock that you put into him if you get that kind of share from him and Jaden going back and forth all game.
Yeah, sit question here.
Yeah, we got a start sit question, guys. We got Jeff Zubikis, who's been on the pod recently. He writes in Jaden Daniels or Joe Burrow, 1 quarterback league, 6 point per PPR. 6 point PPR.
Yeah, that's a tough question, man. only because of the situation with the receiving core in Cincinnati. If they didn't have those problems with the two receivers being out this game or having issues like they are, then I would easily go Burrow. But now that that's happened, I might put Jaden in just to see if I can get that Russian upside out of him for 1 week.
I still probably lean Burrow just because, rookie QBs first game, you never know if they're going to be much. I would rather feel confident in my Burrow.
I mean, what was Cam Newton's first game though? Wasn't it fucking stellar?
Yeah, and I mean, like I said, you always have outliers, but I mean, you can go back to Zach Wilson's first game or any of these busts. You never know what Jaden Daniels is going to be, whether he's going to be
even Robert Griffin, who's similar to his style. Even Robert Griffin had an amazing rookie season. So,
yeah, I mean, like I said, you're always going to have outliers, but I mean, quarterbacks rarely on their rookie season are fantasy, top 12 QBs.
Well, what I usually do when I'm in a pinch like this, Zubikis, is I go right to the Ballsville Ultimate Matchup tool, and that should help me out make a decision. So I go
plug your promo.
I go right here to the matchup tool, and Cincinnati is the number 11 matchup for quarterback.
Is this the tool you're looking for?
Washington, and Washington is the number 8 matchup. So going with the Ballsville Ultimate Matchup tool for week 1, I guess the answer is Jaden Daniels.
Love it. There you go. You got your answer straight out of the numbers.
Burrow.
Oh, we got another one. Short stack gets in there, so we'll answer one real quick. Kyler Murray or Jared Goff. We'll start with Connor.
Everybody knows I'm big on Kyler, so I'm starting Kyler.
I'm going Goff. I'm going Goff, especially because they're playing Bills, baby. Got to go Goff.
Yeah. All right, well, I'll break
Definitely
the tie.
playing Kyler then.
I'll break the tie, and I will go to the Ballsville Ultimate Matchup tool. And Arizona is number 19 is the opponent, and the team is the Jared Goff, the Detroit Lions. The Detroit Lions is a number 3 matchup. So I am going to go with Jared Goff and the Detroit Lions. There's your answer.
Love it.
All right.
Sean wins again.
We will move on.
Whatever.
We will move on to the next game. We got 3 more left to cover. We have the Dallas Cowboys traveling to the Cleveland Browns. And the Browns are a 2.5-point underdog, 41.5 over under. We don't have Tortoise on here. I would go right to Tortoise. So I will go to Sean. Sean, who's popping?
Well, on the Cowboys side, you're going to get some CD Dak love, and that's coming. I'm really interested to see what happens in the running back room more than anything else, though. I want to see what happens with, the 3-headed oatmeal pant monster that they've got there, and Jared Cook,
right.
James Cook, and your boy Zeke Elliott, and I think the one who's probably going to be the cream that rises to the top is going to be Rico Dowdle, in my opinion. So, but I'm interested to see how that whole little mess backfield breaks down. I think that's going to be a fun thing to watch. And then on the Cleveland side, how is Deshaun Watson going to look after all this time? What are we going to get? What's going to happen with Njoku? That's the big question mark for me. I think Njoku really benefited the most from Flacco being the quarterback. So I don't know if Njoku is going to be really worth the draft stock that people put into him this year. So, those are the things I'm watching for. And then obviously I think Jerry Jeudy coming into that offense and see how much usage he's going to get. And we know Jerome Ford's basically the man until they get what's Nick Chubb back. So, those are kind of the things I'm looking for on that side. And then maybe what's going to happen with Jalen Tolbert. I wouldn't mind seeing, some definitive answer on where we're going to sit with him.
What about you, Connor?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to watching this game. I want to see if Lamb is still, wide receiver 1 in the NFL like he was last year. I think it's Zeke that probably outpoints Dowdle. I think probably Dowdle gets a lot more of the passes, but I don't think Dalvin Cook. I think I said this when they first signed him. I really don't think Dalvin Cook is anything fantasy relevant unless I think he's, just an older guy that they can if Zeke gets hurt, they can throw in there. Cleveland side, I want to see if Watson is able to shade of anything he was before, all the controversy and stuff. If he's fantasy relevant again, top 12 QB. I mean, maybe. I doubt it, but if he can shine what he shined in the past, Cooper could be exciting, and the Joker could be exciting. Jerome Ford's an interesting play. So,
no, I agree.
Judy.
I want to see how Deshaun does. I mean, this is it for him, man. If he doesn't show out this year, I mean, I think they paid him all that money, which is, in my opinion, the worst contract ever in the NFL.
Okay, well, the worst contract ever is quite the thing with all these, Brock Osweiler.
I think the worst contract ever has got to be the Raiders guy. Who was the Raiders quarterback? Marcus Russell.
Oh, Jamarcus.
Yeah, I mean, that's a rookie one. That's a bad pick. But
he got a huge contract too.
Matt Flynn.
Deal.
I think it's Matt Flynn. I don't know. I haven't done the history of all the contracts, but Matt Flynn got signed for like $38 million a year and never played it down for Seattle as Russell Wilson. So
he did get a lot of money. I don't know if it was 38.
It was a lot. It was a lot for the time, though. It was like, above league average for the time because he played one 400-yard game in Green Bay. They're like, oh, yeah, he's the next Aaron Rodgers. We got to have him. And they draft Russell Wilson and just play him all year. So,
yeah. So, and then I like the call on Jerome Ford, Connor. I think he's going to be a big part of the offense. It's going to be a little hard to run against the Dallas defense, but I mean, you still got to play him. I think he's going to get a ton of run there. As far as Dallas goes, obviously it's going to be all Dak and CD. And I don't know what stinks worse, the Dallas backfield or a diaper full of undigested Indian food. But this is just a disaster, this backfield. I want nothing to do with it. And,
who feeds a baby awful. Indian food?
Hey, yo.
No, this is old man. Apparently, this is Scott's diaper.
It's not my diaper. So, all right, we're gonna move on to a more interesting game.
More interesting.
Who is that really interesting? That game, Dallas and Cleveland.
Yeah, it's America's team, baby.
All
right, moving on.
So we're gonna go to Sunday Night Football in Detroit. It's gonna be rocking. The Rams are coming to town with one of the most hated players in Detroit, and it's Matthew Stafford, in my opinion. And Detroit's a 4.5-point underdog, 52.5. This is a game that you're I guess they call it what? Showdown on DFS, your showdown slate, where you just stack all your players. So I don't know. This is going to be a great game to watch. We'll start with Sean. Sean, who's popping this game? Besides everybody.
You know what I want to see? I want to see Jameson Williams. I want to see this kid become a part of that offense and actually get a defined role that we can count on week to week. Like, that's really what excites me the most about seeing this, pop off. That, and, gotta love that rookie kicker kicking the ball a country mile on a regular basis, living in a dome all season. Like, I mean, gosh, you want to talk about the best sleeper kicker you could find. Like, good Lord, And then, on the Rams side of the ball, like, let's see the difference with Cooper and Puka, and how they split things up. Koopa, yeah.
Koopa and Poopa?
Yeah, the Koopa combo. That's what we should start calling them, the Koopa combo. I want to see how that plays out between those two guys and the target share breakdown, what works out there. And, how does Corum fit into this offense? Is Corum going to get a timeshare in this? And where's he going to fall? So, those are kind of the main things I'm looking for, other than, the obvious factors on the Detroit side.
What about you, Connor?
Yeah, I want to see Demarcus Robinson. No, I want to see the stars, okay? I want to see Amon-Ra St. Brown. I want to see, Jahmyr Gibbs.
Bro. You don't call out the obvious. Come on.
Yeah, I want to see the stars. I want to see, Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua and Kyron Williamson. I want to see the stars. I don't want to watch Jameson Williams catch one pass for 42 yards and never be seen again.
I guess it comes down to, this was a playoff game last year. Very close game. Lions could have definitely lost that game. So it's like I said, it's going to be, the dome's going to be rocking. And it's just going to be one of those games that I'm not going to want to be bothered by anybody. I just want to sit down and watch it because I think it's going to be a tremendous game. So
I'll make sure to call you right in the middle.
I'll be muting my phone for that. So and then our last game of the week, it's Monday night. We'll see if Aaron Rodgers plays more than 4 plays. The Jets travel to El Presidente's home team, the San Francisco 49ers, who are 4-point favorites, 43.5 over under. And I think, everyone's going to want to see, obviously, Aaron Rodgers, because we were all, that was all taken away last year. So I'll start with Sean. Sean, who's popping?
Well,
who is it, Sean? It better be the Stars. It better be the
Stars.
Stars.
Okay, it's all the Stars, right? What I really want to see in this game is I want to see how Aaron looks coming back off his Achilles. Like that's the number one thing I want to see, because that's going to make or break what's going to happen with all these Jets players we've been drafting. With the exception of Brees, I feel like the rest of that team is going to rise or fall based on Aaron's play. So you need him to come out and look at least somewhat like he used to look. Otherwise, it's going to be bad. So that's kind of the one thing on that side of the ball I want to see. I want to see how healthy CMC is. I want to make sure that he comes out and plays well and looks good. I think if he does, then we don't have anything to worry about. If there are any kind of a timeshare, then this might be more drastic than we were led to believe. So that's going to be a little scary. But otherwise, the main thing for me to watch is how is Aaron going to look coming back from that Achilles injury.
Got you. What about you, Connor?
Yeah, just hit on the obvious, Sean. Just hit on the obvious.
Hey, I take the low-hanging fruit.
Yep, exactly. No, I want to see Ayuk and Debo if they're the same as last year. I want to see how they use Kittle. Like Sean said, CMC's calf injury maybe is a problem. I don't know. He's been limited in practice a couple times, so we'll see. Want to see what Malachi Corley, if he's anything, or Coughlin produces. Who's going to be their second target, maybe third target. I think Brees might be their second target, honestly, in that offense. So we'll see.
Yeah, I'm a big Brees Hall fan. I think he's going to come out, have a great game. See how Aaron Rodgers, how he comes back with the Achilles, and then I want to see a little bit of Brandon Ayuk. You just got paid the big money, so go out there and I want to see how he does against a little bit of Sauce Gardner out there. So see how that all goes. But I think that should be a really good game to watch too. So that's pretty much the weekend preview. Just to give you some stats on this game, if you guys aren't watching it or if you don't know the stats. Green Bay, Jordan Love, 16 of 33, 227 yards, 2 touchdowns, interception. Jacobs, 15 carries for 80 yards. Sprinkled a little bit of Wilson. Reed had 1 carry for 33 and a touchdown. Receivers, Reed, 5 targets, 3 receptions, 105 and a touch. Dobbs, 6 targets, 4 receptions, 50 yards. Christian Watson, 5 targets, 3 receptions, 13 yards, and a TD. And then for the Phillies side, we have Hurts, 15 of 32, 251, 2-2. Barkley with the monster game, 19 attempts, 103 yards, 2 touchdowns. And then he had another 2 targets, 2 receptions, 23 yards, and a touchdown. So just a monster game from him. Hurts had 10 attempts for 19 yards. A.J. Brown, 10 targets, 5 receptions, 119 yards, and a touch. Devontae, 6 targets, 5 receptions, 57 yards. Goddard ended up with 5 targets, 4 receptions for 31 yards. So that's the stats right now. And we hope that you guys have a great weekend watching football. We will. And please like and subscribe to our podcast. And please go to the website and check us out. It's scrolling at the bottom of our ticker. It's theballsvillegame.com. Please check it out. It's totally tailored to you guys. And for my producer, Sarah, co-host Sean, and the good old boy, Connor, Until next Tuesday, you all have a great weekend of football. We are out.
Go Pack.